Oh, good morning. I think 28th August 2019. Looking out the side here, and we've had some rain, and boy, we've needed it because it's dried up a little bit here in southern West Virginia. We've needed some more rain. Uh, we've been getting it. We've gotten, I don't know, 3 or 4 showers here in the last week and a half, 2 weeks maybe. A little more here the last 2 or 3 days. We got a little more than what we had been getting. Well, what is the news of the day? Well, they say they may have satellite images that show North Korea may be building a nuclear submarine. I mean, a submarine capable of launching a nuclear warhead. That's what they're showing pictures of it on Fox News. Yes, Fox News. Well, I'll be honest with you. If it comes to Fox or MSNBC, CNN, or some of them other levels, yeah, I'll watch Fox in a heartbeat, son. In a heartbeat. There's things taking place at Fox now I don't like either, but still yet I'd rather watch Fox about 38-1 over CNN or my mother's. Matter of fact, I don't know if I didn't have Fox, I probably wouldn't even watch. Probably wouldn't even watch news. But they're talking that it may be possible because they're seeing these long buildings that are long enough to build a submarine in. That North Korea might be doing just that. It's something to think about that North Korea sanctions have just about crippled their system, their economy, but yet they push toward power instead of building their economy and strengthening. Quit investing in the power, man. Invest in getting things moving economically so your people can do better. But yet, because of that socialist embedded greedy power gaining thing that goes on inside of a socialist power, socialism has this thing in its head that says that well, it needs to go my way. I'm going to seek to get it that way, and whatever it takes after I get it there, well, so be it. It's basically what it means. Socialism, as a general rule, it doesn't seek an actual true fairness. It doesn't seek an actual justice that works. And that's what we've seen. We've seen it in China. We see Christians in China are the most peaceful people you would have in a country. Christians in China are being persecuted. A lot of Chinese Christians are in jail. Put in jail because there's a socialist power over there that wants to rule. And one of the first voices that'll be cut off is that voice that says, no, that's not right. You can't do that. It's not moral. It's not godly. It's not fair. It's not just. It's not honorable. That is the first voice that'll be cut off because they don't want someone telling them, you cannot do that. No. They want to cut that voice off. They want to cut the resistance off. And Christians, I seen a video. It's been, I don't know, it's been a few years now, maybe 3-4 years, maybe or longer. I seen this video, and it had this man. He was I forget exactly what his title was. He was World Christian Association leader or president or something, or just an organization throughout the world where Christians have a focal point to where they can, they can work if things need help here, needs help over here, needs help. I mean, in just whatever ways, I mean, they're not seeking power. They're just seeking for a truthful, honest gospel to be ministered around the world, that people will hear the truth. That is the great calling that's put upon a Christian, is to minister the gospel. Because one day Jesus Christ will judge everything. And we don't want to see people perish. We don't want to see people die. When we sure don't want to see people in hell. But yet, even though they are one of the most peaceful voices in the world, they're being persecuted. They're being attacked. Just like in America today, you got Antifa and it's socialism and this stuff, and they're going out there and attacking conservatives. Conservatives their thinking is on the base that, hey, truth and honor, actual fairness and justice should be up front. That should be your stance in America. That people would have a fair shot as long as you're not cheating and lying and stealing from everybody else. You have a fair shot here. That's the way conservative thinking is. But you get these socialists and these Antifa and Black Lives Matter and this stuff. They got up. They were fed a friggin' piece of poop, and now they're out here looking for avenues to attack and get by with it. Your Democrat Party right now is, how many of them have said, well, we need to get forceful. We need to get forceful with these people, and maybe even physical. We've heard these Democrat candidates for office say that we're going to have to get physical in this stuff. Cruz and others are trying to get them listen and to get Congress to pass the bill that says, hey, Antifa is a violent organization that attacks people. That should have been passed months back or years back, but yet it's not passed. They attack people. They attack innocent people. You had this video with little conservative college news reporter or something. I forget all the details, but I remember the video. I mean, this fella, he was just reporting the protest or whatever that was going on by Antifa. They attacked him. Here he was just trying to cover his face and get away. He was already bleeding. They attacked him. He was already bleeding, and he was just covering his face, wanting to get away. And they were still kicking him and throwing things at him and hit him and things. He was just wanting to get out of the crowd. But yet, buttheads in Congress will not pass a bill banning Antifa. Why not? Why not? Why will these socialists and liberals not pass a bill banning Antifa? Why will they not do it? They're socialists and liberals, people. It's their friggin' attitude. It's the rot that lives within their hearts and minds. That's the reason they won't do it. It's that socialist rot. It's that liberal decay that's going on in their conscience. You know, Trump won 2016. He got in the office and you know, he won on the moral conversation that he stood upon, the things that were important to America and American citizens, this country, our economy. He won on that. He attacked the swamp, or if you will, the political avenue of thought that had went on for 100+ years. that just let things go, just little by little, things just going downhill. Man, your education going downhill, moral attitude going downhill, every friggin' thing in the world. Marriage is going downhill, everything decreasing, just being driven into the mud. And he attacked the system, that pattern of thought that was letting this stuff gradually happen. He attacked the swamp. He attacked the swamp that was just letting this stuff take place. He attacked that godless, immoral thinking in power that just kept letting this stuff take place. And then those that were in power, that were part of that rotting power, that rotting thought pattern, they started attacking him. And so help me, even people, no doubt in my mind, even people that knew that politics was a sewer, a dirty sewer, a swamp. When the swamp started attacking the newcomer that was speaking with a decent voice, people started licking the old politician's butt. They started kissing up on them old liars and thugs that was letting things go under. And they attacked the newcomer. But you know, it's amazing. I look at it sometimes and I wonder, how is it these people can even entertain the thought that the Democratic Party, or the immoral, the godless, the liberal, the socialist, how can they even entertain the thought that they're growing, that they can lie and say we are the majority? They're not even close to a minority, and actually people listen to them. They're not even close to being a minority. Moral majority in America. When Trump ran for office, moral majority woke up. Trump is putting tens of thousands in rallies and stuff, man, filling arenas and sidewalks lined up with people wanting to get in and see him. And I mean, this has went on now for 4 years, man. Trump packing these rallies and everything, and these little pitiful liberals and socialists, they do good to get hundreds. 1,500 maybe 2,000. Do good to get some. They've even been reports they'd be like Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. They would only get like 300 people at a rally. You think about that. But yet you listen to MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS. You listen to these liberal media. Oh, they had a rally over here, and the outcoming was something else. You should have been there. And you know, they're talking about all this stuff, but yet when they get to talking about Trump, they don't show the crowds that show up. They don't talk about the tens of thousands that show up at Trump's rallies. Tens of thousands packing these places out, and yet they tell people, well, we got the platform, we're moving forward here, moving right along. Dreamers. That's a dreamer. Oh, everybody loved Olaf, his little role in the movie. Everybody loved him. His little role. I mean, I watched that little old, what was the name? Frozen's the movie, but yeah, Frozen. And I watched the movie. He was comical, man. It's fun. It's comical watching the little dude. But he was a dreamer. He was dreaming a dream that wasn't even possible. He would have had to, the only way he could have lived on a sunny beach was to have a 78-pound air conditioner strapped to his back. And that old heel jack says, I'm going to tell him. And that little lady, his girlfriend or whatever, says, you better not. And that's the attitude. That's the attitude of these liberals. They know it's not feasible. They know it's not possible, but yet they carry it on. They carry it on because they're trying to gain more people, trying to let their lie be fed into more people. It's the attitude. It's the attitude of the avenue. That's what you have to realize. It's the attitude of the avenue. It's the same thing around the gay community. You know, they try to say you're born gay, you're this. You're not born gay. You're not born gay. You're receptive to the thinking. You're not born gay. There ain't nobody born gay. I don't care what they tell you. Listen, let me just give you something to think about. You have a man has his woman, the woman has her man. Sometimes one of them will feel like getting kinky and the other won't. They're just not in the mood. But the one that's feeling kinky, they just begin to nudging up against them, and they just, just more or less push yourself a little bit, and before you know it, what's happening? The other one that wasn't in the mood, they all of a sudden begin to get in that little urge, that inclination just to go ahead and have fun. It's the same way with the gays. Listen, back in the 60s and 70s, the gay community, some of these perverted magazines coming out, they were telling and putting it in our publications, we want to seduce your children. Okay? We want to seduce your children. What were they doing? They were introducing their thinking. And before you know it, they got it in. They got teachers and college professors, and you send your kids to school today, they're automatically trying to tell them about being gay. What are they doing? They're introducing, they're nudging up, they're rubbing up against you. They're introducing these thoughts. They're affecting your thinking. You were not born gay, people. It is an accepted thought. An accepted thought. You're not born gay. It's an accepted thought. And that's what they're doing. You look, Obama, listen, Obama and Clinton both are Marxists. I've talked about this stuff over and over. It makes no difference what you say you are, whether you're a Marxist, a Nazi, a socialist, an Islamic, it doesn't matter. If the ends are the same, they are the same. If the ends are the same, they are the same. They're just using different avenues to get into that one place of power and subduction. If the ends are the same, they are the same. Obama and Clinton both were Marxists. We've seen a transcript or something from Obama's college years to what he had studied, and it was filled in Marxism. Hillary Clinton said to her former boss, was it Saul something or other, from back in the Nixon era, back into that time, her former boss was a strong voice out against Nixon that helped in behind getting Nixon impeached. Okay? Helped in getting in behind Nixon impeached. But did you know that just a little bit after that, he went to prison? The old dude was corrupt. He was corrupt. He went to prison. Hillary Clinton has stated that he was her role model. He was her role model. Corruption, introducing thoughts, trying to get people to accept its avenue of thinking. That's all it is. That's all it is. They're going around and look at the Democratic Party now. There's what 10 runners now. The others have been they didn't meet the didn't meet the criteria, and now they're out of the picture. You got 10 runners now, and there's only one of them that actually is standing up against a socialist thinking. I think it's Biden. These others, they're socialists, man. They want a socialist power in America. I think it's Biden's the only one that's actually speaking out against a full-blown socialist system. But Biden said under Obama, he cannot be trusted in office. Just as Obama proved that he could not be trusted, he was a corrupt liar, and corruption laid him behind him, and we can see what he done with our federal agencies and stuff. He couldn't be trusted. Biden is the same type person. You can't trust people like it. You don't want them in power. But it's what they're doing with these rallies, NBC, ABC, CBS. They talk about the rallies, where someone's going to be here. Then they don't get the numbers, but yet that socialist attitude, that socialist attempt to bring thoughts into people's minds, to control, to get them people to follow them, to get into the same pattern of thought. That's called propaganda. To get people into the same pattern of thought. That's called propaganda. Socialists have played that game for thousands of years, man. Thousands of years. Get people to follow. Hitler, when he first started off, he had a few people listened. But, before he could march through Europe with a murderous military power, he had to get who knows how many thousands upon thousands of people in his military to thinking, we are a superior race. We are meant to be a governing power of the world. And look what happens. Over 6 million Jews die. Who knows how many Italians and French and Americans and other countries coming out to fight back against Germany to stop their march in Europe, to stop that friggin' rot. We don't know how many numbers. Only God knows how many actually died during the Hitler movement. Only God knows how many people, innocent people, have died in North Korea under that socialist power that's over there. We had one American boy died here back when Obama was in office. He sent him back to America. He was sick and he died in the hospital. Who knows how many innocent people died? Who knows how many innocent people died in Japan? Through the war with Japan we had in the Pacific and all that. Who knows how many people died and all? Only God knows how many actually ended up died in that mess. Japan was island hopping around through the South Pacific and all that. Who knows how many natives on these islands and stuff died? Socialism is an ugly power, people. It's an ugly power. It needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped in America. It needs to be stopped in America. Only ignorance is what lets it survive. Ignorance lets socialism survive. Ignorance lets it survive. It needs to be stopped. It's the pattern of the socialist thinking, the liberal thinking. It's that pattern, people, that they want to introduce their thoughts until they control your thoughts. That's just the way they think. It's natural for a person. It's natural for a person or a family, a mom, a dad, a grandma, a grandpa, a brother, or sister. It's natural for them to want their children, their family, to be treated fair, to be treated morally. That's a natural thing through love. But if you listen to these liberals and socialists, they want you to exclude. Listen, they want you to exclude. They want the thoughts, moral thoughts, excluded. In order for their thinking to be put in, they have to have some kind of vacuum there. They have to have room for their moral thought, their immorality to be pushed in. The only way immorality can be entered in is they have to drive out the morality. It's their thinking, people. That's the problem with liberal thinking. That's the problem with socialist thinking. It's perverts wanting you to follow their godless, immoral thinking, their godless, immoral thought patterns. That's the problem with them. You listen to Hillary Clinton and others, they make statements like, well, we need to stop thinking about the individuals and start thinking about the whole, everybody. They want to drive out the individual. They want to drive out the individual character, the individual person, the individual thought pattern that says that, hey, listen, I'm my own boss. They want that gone. They want it gone. They cannot set up a socialist ran world until the individual thought has been driven out. They have to garner the power. They have to garner the power through submission. God told me a few years ago, you're being subdued. He told me you're being subdued. It's that controlling thought pattern. It's not godly, it's not moral, it's not honorable, it's not just, it's not decent, it's not fair. There's nothing about it kosher. There's not a thing about it kosher. Karl Marx, what was it he said? If we can destroy the conscience of one generation of Americans, we can take the nation. If we can corrupt the conscience of one generation of Americans, we can put ourselves in power. If we can pee into their minds enough, we'll eventually own them. That, people, that is the desire of socialism. It wants to destroy the moral, upright, honest, decent, respectful you and make something out of you that you'd see in a Hollywood zombie movie, that you'd see in Hitler's Third Reich, that you would see in these places where socialism runs wild. The innocent, the honest, the moral, the godly, the helpless. Well, let's just say they don't fare well in socialism. Obamacare. We was promised they would repeal Obamacare. We were promised they would repeal Obamacare. What happened? Why wasn't Obamacare repealed? Well, we decided not to trash it. We're going to just go and change some of it. That's not good enough. I want to know what they kept. I want to know if the death panels are there. I want to know if their desire, if the desire of socialism, of the elites, I want to know if their desire to eradicate 2/3 of the world's population is there. I want to know if these scientists that have said 1/3 of the world's population need to die off, I want to know if that is still in power. If that is still in Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. I want to know if it's there. I want to know what they left. I want to know what they settled for. You got to remember, some of the same people that voted to accept the Affordable Care Act when Obama was in office, some of those same people are still in them offices, and they were Republicans. I want to know what they accepted. I want to know what they settled for. I want to know what kind of atrocities socialist thinking has kept in place. Obama said, "Oh, we're not going to push Grandma off the cliff." Yeah, the only way you didn't, Jack, is because you never had time to get it set up. You never had time to get it set up. Now, people, a lot of mess going on. You know, our president wants to get us out of Afghanistan. Millions of dollars, man, being thrown into Afghanistan. Dealing with a radical Islamic group of people that are murderous, pitiful, murderous thinking people. He wants us out there. It's nothing but a waste. We're losing people. They're losing people. Millions upon millions of dollars being wasted and all this stuff. He wants us out. But his advisors are telling him, you can't. You can't pull out. If you do, what happened in Iraq will happen in Afghanistan. The friggin' perverts will build them a military, and then you're going to have a full-blown war. It's not going to be a skirmish and a life or two here and there. It'll be a full-blown war. You'll have hundreds, even thousands dying. And you'll be spending billions instead of millions. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. Son trying to peep out. Well, I'm gonna back off. I put in my little 2 cents and shared with what's in my heart and mind with you. You know, we're in trouble. Something's got to give. Well, I noticed I forgot to turn my light on, and it bounced the light out on my face. So that video's over now. Yeah, want me to turn it on? That helped balance it a little bit. I usually have it blocked a little bit to where it won't glare, but I love you. I really do. Sometimes it may not sound like it, but I do. You know, I love America. I love the American people. I love people around the world. It breaks my heart to hear of North Koreans crying, hurting. Breaks my heart to hear Russians crying and hurting. Chinese, these Afghan people. Not everybody over there is a warmonger. These people over there, they want their families to live in peace. They want their families to have a life. Not everybody's a warmonger. But the sad part is you got people that are so warped in their minds. They gotta have power. They gotta have control. They gotta have all this stuff. They're not godly. They're not moral. They're not fair. They're not just. They're not decent. They're not respectful. You know, if America were to pull back, you know, I've heard people say, "I quit sending them all this money and this and that and whatever. Don't do this. You got people over here." Listen, we can't pull back. If we pull back, socialism wins. That damnable power-hungry greed wins. We cannot fight the whole world. We have to garner friends. We have to have allies. We cannot fight the whole world. If we pull back, these perverts gain another country here. They gain another country here. They gain another one over here. And we cannot fight them all. We cannot pull back. Donald Trump stepped in one of the biggest beehives you ever seen in your life, man. He's fighting a war with liberalism and socialism and everything else here. And then he has to go across the ocean and fight it over there too. He's wasted. There's been billions upon billions upon billions of dollars wasted on American soil because these friggin' liberals and socialists. This money, man, is just burning, going up in smoke on our own soil because of liberal thinking, because of socialist thinking. It's going up in smoke, billions upon billions of dollars, man. We're $20 trillion in debt. I think of all the debt we got, and I see the need around the world in so many areas. So many things going on. People need our help. And we can't help them because we have to deal with this friggin' rot here going on in our own soil. We got to deal with it here. You know, before God told me you're being subdued, just a few weeks before that, He told me they're crashing your economy. They're crashing your economy. So it makes no difference what anybody else says or anything else. I know for a fact they're crashing your economy because God said it. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It's happening. Trump has gotten in. He's saved us hundreds of billions of dollars in areas, you know, cutting back the waste and the friggin' regulations and everything. He's saved us billions upon billions of dollars. But yet, because of the stuff that is going on, they just raised this debt ceiling. We just borrowed another $1 trillion. The scenario God told me hasn't changed. They're crashing your economy. It hasn't changed. What's going on? What's going on? America, we got to get behind our president. You know, God, He doesn't always step in supernaturally and deliver Israel. Sometimes He moves through the circumstances, through the elements, through the things that are involved. Sometimes He moves through that because He's got to get the group together. He's got to pull the group together in order for it to progress. He uses us. He uses us. He can move in the supernatural, but He uses us. We need to get behind our president. Your liberals and socialists running for office, they got to go. They just plain and simply, they've got to go. They've got to be snuffed out, man. It's got to go. It's got to go. I love you. Have a good one. The Democratic Party should not garner one vote in 2020. They should not get one vote. Not one. Not even one. After their attitude that has come up in the last, 10 years, 12 or better, they shouldn't get one vote. Not one. Not one. Have a good one.